Ahoy, fellas! Long time no see again. The last time I did one of these was, I believe, in 2023, August. At least that is when I put the video up, the amulets I made before that, you know. So it's soon been, what, almost 2 years? But that doesn't mean that I stopped creating these amulets. I just couldn't wrap the projects up the way I want them to. But hey, now I'm here again and I will continue where I left off, kinda. And to make it faster, I've decided that I will be releasing 2 amulets at the same time. And in addition to these god statues, I've wanted to create a lot of different kind of things. So imagine like Mjolnir's pendants, you know, everything. And I will put like 2 pendants at least with every these, so to say, releases as well. But as I said, I planned a lot of these in 2023. And I filmed a lot of the stuff in 2023 as well, because I got so many suggestions. So a lot of the videos, or parts of the videos at least, will be from 2023. But I will just wrap it all up, and then newer ones, I can make new videos for them. And this video, we will begin with Aegir and Baldr, as suggested by GG user 9737. And I can't remember everyone who has asked for Aegir. Anyway, whoever you are that wanted an Aegir, I send my good wishes to you. I'm sorry I have forgotten the names. I will try to do better. Also, a little thing with this video here. Since the videos were made in 2023, I am not sure what happened to the Baldr footage. I could not find it anywhere. So the majority of the video will be about how I've made the Aegir one, but the process is the same for all of them, right? Enjoy the video and let's begin. So I begin by traveling up a mountain known as Loovusemägi. Here I built this highly esoteric and very pagan stone towers. And as I do so, I feel very in touch with the nature, and that makes me feel very good about myself. The natural cycle of these includes that these are found by a rivaling entity known as the realistic man. He hates this, therefore he tears them all down to feel better about himself, while mumbling something along the lines like, "Oh, these have nothing to do with paganism, stupid hippies." Little does he know that actually fuels my creativity. For every stone tower he pushes over, I gain his anger as energy manifested in these same stones. And I have learned of this spell from an one-eyed man on how to convert anger stored in stones into creativity by boiling them in a kettle made of bronze during the time when our earth starts waking from its sleep, as the sun slowly paints the meadows in gold.
Anna, what are you doing?
So the power that I've accumulated from these stones now by boiling them, I sit down at my numbers wizard and I proceed to manifest into reality the sequence of numbers to birth the Aegir and Baldr amulets. Then I cast these spells onto my portable tomb of memory, which I feed to the mouth of the shaper of matter. It then sings into existence the shapes of the amulets. Now, since they are new, I must let them sit in the burning sun for 9 long days and 9 long nights. So after that, we have to return the next day. So the next day begins early, because I am trying to do 2 days of progress in 1 day. So usually on day 2, I take the 3D model that I've printed and I put it into a silicone mold. But in my last video, I figured out that you can take the silicone that is not hardened yet, put it into an oven, and then you can make the mold become hard much, much faster. So that means I can do day 2 and day 3 during the same day. So while this plays in the background here, I thought that I will talk to you about something called cure inhibition. I got this question on my last video by Lazy Hefe. Do you ever have problems with the silicone not curing around the 3D resin print? I have this problem when I try to make mold of resin prints, and it's very common. So cure inhibition is when you're making a silicone mold and you have a 3D model in there, there are certain things that cause the silicone to not cure. To cure means to become hard. It stays kind of gooey around the 3D model and doesn't really take the shape and so on. And that is called cure inhibition, when that thing happens, that it stays gooey. So I will go step by step what I do to avoid cure inhibition. So step 1, first you take the resin print off, you put it into alcohol 99%, and what the alcohol does, it takes off any resin residue that is on the model. So you might want to use a toothbrush, preferably not one that you're gonna use to brush your teeth with later on, because you might go blind. After you've cleaned it out, becomes step number 2. So step number 2 is it needs UV light. So I said before, I leave mine out for 9 days, 9 nights as a reference to the Norse god Odin and overall numerology and Norse mythology, right? But it's actually true. I found out that it works really well if you leave your 3D prints out for like a week and a half roughly. And step 2.1 is that there's also a difference in what kind of resins you use. So for example, black resin absorbs a lot of light. That means that it takes much longer for it to cure, while as white resin doesn't absorb light that well. The best is see-through resin though, so translucent resin. So that's also why I use that orange one, because I have it already ready, but it's also like light can go through it, so that means that it cures all the way through. So if you're gonna be using resin to make 3D prints that you will use to make silicone molds out of stuff, then that is the best option. So 2.2 is, if you get UV lights, you can build a UV chamber, something like this that I use, and I've set up mirrors everywhere so that the light could bounce around and really cure my pieces. And usually I leave my pieces here for like an hour or so. And sorry, there's also step 2.3. So what you can do in addition as well to speed up the curing process is you can put your 3D prints also into an oven for like an hour, 2 hours, but keep the temperatures low. Test with 40 degrees, 60 degrees. I would say that the upper limit is 60 degrees Celsius, because this also makes them kind of throw out those chemicals they have in them much, much faster. So finally moving on to point 3. Now there's also 2 types of silicon, at least 2 that I know of. There might be more, but there is platinum-based silicon and tin-based silicon. Now, tin-based silicon often comes with like 2 pieces of Play-Doh I've seen. Now, what is good with tin silicon is that after you take your 3D print off, you do all those things, tin-based silicon will mostly work fine. Platinum-based ones are a bit more sensitive and they are more liquidy. So for that there exists a thing called Inhibit X. What I do is I take my 3D print, put it into this Inhibit X solution, I take it out, I let it dry, I dip it in there again, take it out, let it dry. I do this about 5 to 7 times depending how I feel during that day. 5 I would say works most of the time, but the more the better. So this creates a really thin layer on top of the 3D print that won't let its uncured places react with the silicon. So after that comes step number 4, which is the final step, and that is that you prepare the silicon, you put your statue into some kind of a container. I have used 3D printed containers, I have used Legos. Here in these videos I'm always using Legos, but lately I have started just using cardboard because I've found that to be the easiest. That is it, that is how you get the perfect silicon mold for your 3D pieces. So on one of my videos, Norse Record Music asked if I can make a Thor, but from gold. So I will show you how I make this different kind of finishes basically on them. So first of all, when they come out of the mold, they look something like this, but with plaster stuck in between the creases and so on. So usually what I do is I wash it, just brush it a little bit, and then put it into ebonol, which then, when it's in ebonol, it becomes like this, like completely black. After that, what I do is I have this kind of brush. In Estonian it's called karugel. I am not sure what it's called in English. I will look it up and I will write it here. Kind of a reminder for myself as well. So I use this brush to like scrub it. And then it ends up looking like this. But now I also sell these golden finish ones. What I do with these is that these get a little bit of extra attention to brushing them off if someone orders a golden one. What I do also with this is that I put it into like different kind of greases for it, or different kind of wax, because it creates kind of a protective layer around it, plus it really polishes it, makes it shine a lot. So this is how I get the golden finish. So hope you liked it, Norse Music. So now the last thing we need to do is go out and film one of those short videos I do for all of the gods and goddesses of Aegir and Baldr as well. And I have a bit of a special thing in mind, because Aegir is a water god. I will go to a place where there's a little lake, and hopefully I can do some cool underwater shots. I have brought a plastic box which I can put my camera into, and later on I can fill this thing with water, because I want to film like stuff sinking into the water as well. So hopefully it comes out good, we'll see. If it doesn't, then everyone just pretends like it's the best thing you've ever seen, okay? Thank you. We are at the spot now, and I'm going extremely official, because as you see, I got a B cam over there to film behind the scenes, because I will be using this camera to film the stuff underwater, so I can't really use this to show behind the scenes, right? So let's see how it turns out. So the underwater shots weren't the easiest thing to film because it's not completely see-through, so it didn't look too good. But I will try. If I put this full of water, if I set it in there, how it will look like. Oh yeah, that looks definitely better. And because of the ground here, I can actually film it pretty nicely, I think. Okay, so the majority is done. Now it is only to edit the video. So let's see together how it turned out. So that is the episode. I am also making these statue versions for them right now as well. I'm gonna set them here, and I mean, size-wise, they're a bit bigger. Not sure if you can see from there, but yeah, if you're more interested in more statue versions without the neck hole and so on, those are just meant to be as decorative things. I have these as well now. Oh, and as I said, I want to do this extra pendants and so on as well. So you saw from the video as well that I have this ship nose thing. So it goes, you can hang it from your neck and so on. And this little more primitive Mjölnir. So those are the two pendants that I released this time. With the next one, which hopefully isn't in 2 years now, I plan to release much more pendants. So be on the lookout for that. Honestly, it feels good to finalize these ideas that I've had for so many years actually. Thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments or write me in Instagram DMs, write me on email, wherever, you know. So yeah, that is everything for this time, and I hope you have a good day, and hopefully we see next week, 2 weeks from now. Until then, have a very, very good time, and best of luck to you with what you're doing.